First of all, part of data from the Financial Times, 254 venture-backed clients went bust in the first quarter of this year. It's a local maxima. My first thought was that isn't that many for a quarter.
Is there a chart of this? Is there a chart we're going to show?
I may have.
Which part of the notes is this? Let me just make sure, because I think we have it here.
Best of times, worst times. You are currently in the right section of the notes, and it would be in the FT article.
I see down rounds here. I see investor-friendly deal terms.
It's this chunk here. Yes, I have the chart. I'll screen share.
Okay, great. Yeah, just so we level set with the audience, because I like describing the chart. And a chart is worth an image is worth 1,000 words, and a chart is worth 1,000 images. So, startup shutdowns are rising fast. So it was probably artificially low for some period of time because there was the never-ending bridge round. So I had startups that did not have product market fit who would come to me, and so here we have annual failure rate, according to Carta again, and this is a subset of people who use Carta. So this is even worse because the people who use Carta can afford, I think, probably a $500 a month, $6,000 a year minimum.
Yep.
Some startups who are cheap or never make it to their seed round or the Series A maybe don't want to spend that $6,000 a year. So here you have it. Startup shutdowns are rising fast. 2020, 75. I don't know if this is thousands or
no. This is by quarter.
So
there were 254 in Q1 of this year.
Okay. Which all you're seeing here is when you see it in 2020, 21, and 22 be under 100 per quarter, and then you see it spike up to 250. That period of time was the illusion, the delusion. That's where people could raise an extra 6-month bridge, an extra year bridge. The bridges stopped right around between 2022 and 23 when the market corrected, and then Silicon Valley Bank went out in March of 2023, and then no more bridge funding. So now you've got fumes, typically 6 to 18 months, and what you're seeing is the people who are on fumes are running out of fumes. The car just stalls. And so this is just backed up. If you were to actually take these and average them to 125 a quarter, 150 a quarter, that would, you just basically pull the line straight. Just pull the line straight and you'll get the average. And the average is just occurring at different points in time. This does not mean it's going to get worse. What this means is we're freeing up really elite talent who started companies to go start their next company or go join the companies that did survive. Flushing out bad ideas or failed experiments is a natural part of the process. Sometimes species go extinct because they don't evolve. And that's what we're seeing here. It's just some parts of the species, the weak in the herd, you have some small runt of the litter, they get picked off by the lions. Or you see some runt of the litter runs faster, and all of a sudden the size of the animals gets a little smaller and a little bit leaner. So that's what you're seeing.
That's a positive take on that. And I have another very positive data chart to take us home. John,
good.
Can we get the down rounds?
I could use some positivity.
There you go, Jason. The percentage of down rounds in the second quarter fell from 24.2% in Q1 to just 17.4%, which is 1 in 6. And it's the lowest in 6 quarters. So finally, we're seeing more up rounds as a fraction of total deals. How about that? Positivity to end the show.
Well, here's what's happening too. And you look here, remember 2020, 2021 peak ZERP, like 1 in 20 at the lowest Q1 of 2022. That's when the market actually flipped, was right there in that first quarter. That was the peak. So it was low to have a down round. A down round is you raised your last round at $1 billion. You need to raise more money. Nobody will pay $1 billion valuation. So instead of paying $100 a share, they offer you $75 a share. Now your company's worth $75 billion, let's say. 750 million instead of $1 billion. Well, in the ensuing 2 years, let's say if your company grew, 35% year over year.
Sure.
That means your revenue is double over those 2 years, which means if you had raised at twice the valuation you deserved, if you doubled your revenue, maybe you caught up to your valuation. So the chances of a down round go down dramatically and you have a flat round. So sometimes if the company does survive, and this is a survivorship bias, if you did raise a round, you are a strong company. Yes. The companies that didn't raise a round were the ones in the last chart from the Financial Times, a different provider who went out of business. So this is what we're seeing, and it proves my point. Nature finds a way to go with, Dr. Malcolm in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Anybody who survived and did not get eaten by the lions or the T-Rexes or the raptors, they had to be strong. And that's what's happening here is the strong companies survive, they raise another round, and eventually their revenue catches up to last round. Boom. This is all green shoots. I think this is going to be the best vintage in venture. As I joked with our team internally, like the only thing our company has to survive, our firm, is me retiring. Like I to deal with the amount of chaos that you showed in these charts today, Alex, has been in some ways the toughest 2 years of my professional career. Now I lead a charmed career. I've had 2 rough patches. This is the third. Those rough patches were the dot-com era, the Great Recession, and now. And those 3, each one of those has been tough on me. But when you get to your third one, it's like that that meme where James Franco's in the news and he looks over and he goes, "First time."
First time? Yeah.
It's like, I've been through this before. It's literally like first time. Like I know it's going to be shitty in the foxhole, but I know we're going to win the war. And then the question is like, are my knees and my shoulder, do I have a bum shoulder and knees that I can't fight the war anymore? I'm 53. I feel great. I love doing this job. I love hanging out with founders. Yeah, you had a great opportunity to bring 6 of our companies to Sequoia last week. Super jazzed me up.
Yeah.
And, every time I spend time doing a podcast or doing founders, my energy and my battery gets filled and I'm stoked again. And so, it's been tough the last 2
What
years.
does
I'm
Jason
actually
really
looking forward
do?
to just being
They
normal.
need to retire. Just let
Yeah,
him
back
go.
to our
Let it
political
go.
discussion.
Keep spamming
Yeah,
at
it would
it.
be
You will
just great to have a
explode
normal
Sequoia,
game on the
probably.
field for a couple of years. Not too high, not too low, just build. I just want to build.
2.5% Fed rate, 4% unemployment. Everyone's
Sure.
chilling. You know what I mean? Like some VCs are going more aggressive, some are going more conservative. I want to wake up, open the news, and not go
Yeah, no war with Taiwan. Let this Ukraine thing peter out. 906 days, and Putin's an absolute embarrassment. Can't beat this tiny upstart democracy in 906 days. Like, what a humiliation for him. Let's get peace there. God, please let those hostages be returned to their families. Please stop what's going on in Gaza. I don't want to see young people not have food and clean water. Just the people in the Gulf region, the leadership there, Saudis, UAE, Qatar, really stand up and let's force this to be peace. It's your backyard. You have to lead this, not the United States. I just want those hostages home. I want no more bombs dropped. I don't want any civilian casualties. I'm sorry if that seems like I'm both-siding it, but man, I don't like to see young people go to war and die. I don't like to see casualties of war.
Advocating for peace is, I think, always a reasonable position to take. Except for World War II. But I'm with you on all of that.
Almost universally, the wars need to end, right?
Yes, but sometimes you have to win them, like against fascism. But I'll quote
That was a little bit rough.
I'll just quote my friend Jason Calacanis here as we head out for today. We're back on Wednesday, by the way. Rooting for Putin is no way to go through life. I agree. I think that is a fine way to put it, and I just wanted to say that out loud on the show.
Yeah. And intelligent people can disagree. I understand some people hate the neocons. The military-industrial complex is like a disturbing machine. I also hope, I'm really rooting for Palmer Luckey, Andro, and all these other long-tailed military startups.
Yeah.
I really am rooting for them to figure out how to make weapons at scale, especially the defensive ones that we need. Because, man, it does seem like the Chinese and some other countries are figuring out some things that I feel we're behind on, but I'm no expert.
Well, I'll just say this. Wouldn't it be great if there was more competition amongst American defense contractors?
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
That says it all, because we don't have competition. That's how you get Boeing and leaving people in space. We can't build submarines, and we make one boat a year. Great job, Raytheon.
Let's take one question here.
Okay, let's do it.
Rashid. By the way, producer John, just put the good questions in the main feed. Don't bury them in a thread on Slack because it's harder to find. Rashid asked, Where is that?
Isn't
Is there a
way?
better way? Yeah, you do it. 3, 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't there a better way of measuring fund performance other than DPI?
Okay. There is no better way than cash out to judge a fund. I learned this from Michael Moritz, who wrote at one point to the LPs of a fund, there's a lot of different ways to look at venture funds, TVPI, but at the end of the day, how much money did you put in? What did you get out? Is the most pure way to look at it. Of course, you have to superimpose that across time, but generally speaking, these things last a decade, 12 years, etc. So you know what you're getting in for. I like the multiple of invested capital. It's called MOIC, and that just means how much money did I put in, how much did I get out?
It's called ROI.
Oh, and if you pronounce it MOIC,
What's your
you'll get
yield
laughed at
on
the
your
LP
investment?
meeting. So MOIC is the
Yeah.
right one.
I'm pretty sure
Yield
MOIC is
on
it.
your
Yeah.
investment.
Yeah.
Any of these other questions seem good to you? I'll take one more. That was a fast one.
Common sense.
To what extent do you think Gen AI accelerating software development is real today, and is it meaningfully measurable?
Okay, this is a great question. I have been told by developers or people who lead development teams.
Yeah.
Oh wow, and this was a super chat of $10. Wow, thanks for sending a super chat. That's quite nice. What I'll say about this is the developers I talk to who are elite, like really elite developers, top 10%, known as the 10X developer, because they're just so good at it. A little bit on the margins. But for somebody who is a new chef and is learning the recipes, it is like dramatically better to use a co-pilot. The way I would say that, Alex, for you and I is, you and I get value out of Grammarly or spell check. But we know
Jason hasn't
about
read
the
more than
Oxford
100 books in
comma.
the
We
past
know
10 years.
AP says numbers under 10 are spelled out, numbers above 10, you just put the actual numerical, version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So those things don't help us. We're already got that 95% knowledge. We know when we're doing a run-on sentence. We know if we're doing a compound sentence for effect, or if it should be short. Therefore, that kind of advice, it is inconsequential to us. We're going to make a better decision in some cases than Grammarly for our use case. That being said, as you've heard me read out loud other people's work, using the co-pilot known as Grammarly, which I love, and I force everybody on my team to use, and the way I enforce that is by telling them, pull up that Notion page, pull up the document, and then I see if I see the little Grammarly thing floating there and the squiggly lines underlining certain sentences, and I'm like, why isn't Grammarly turned on? You've got grammatical errors in here. Shout out to our friends at Grammarly. At some point they made an offer, use the twist code or go to grammarly.com/twist maybe, or /startups, maybe there's an offer. I don't know if they advertise this year, so I don't know the URL off the top of my head, but I think it's kind of like that. Like, is that parallel your experience using things like Grammarly?
Yeah, I was thinking about how to answer this question, and I think the developer to chef point's really good because people at the highest end tend to code in the most basic. They code in like a notepad, right? Because they're just doing it themselves. And but if you flipped it and you said, Alex, you have to go back and pick up C++, which you haven't touched in 10 years, I would absolutely use every single AI tool out there I could to level up myself faster and to get help. And so to me, it's absolutely a great way for teams that may have developers that are more junior to make them better faster and therefore more economically valuable. But amongst the absolute elite, no, probably not. But I mean, that's a pretty small cut of the population. So back to the question, I do think it is accelerating software development. And you can see evidence for that based on how many people pay for GitHub's Copilot. Microsoft had it in their last earnings report. You can go look it up. It's a lot. People are paying for it because they use it. And I think that is all you need to know right there.
Yeah, I mean, how many people do pay for GitHub Copilot? I wonder. It's got to be millions, right? 1.5 million paying users. I just did, yeah. ChatGPT says 5 million paying users. Individual plans, $10 a month, 100 a year. Business plan, $20 a month. Yeah. I mean, I have no reason to doubt that. It did cite Microsoft financial reports and GitHub's blog. So, okay, final super chat. If you do a super chat, I'm definitely going to read it because you gave us money and I have no choice. Jason, pick a favorite child. Which syndicate startup right now? I mean, we syndicated Podcast AI, and it had a really great response. I think we raised $500,000 from our syndicate, and I think I put in from our fund $250K. So it's like a $750,000 check to a company, a $25K check in. They then went to the accelerator. We put $125K check in. They then graduated, and we put a third bet in, $250 from the fund. And since we had strong conviction, having made 3 bets on that company, offered it to the syndicate. You can join the syndicate at thesyndicate.com if you're an accredited investor. And we have been very select in who we syndicate. We really watch strong companies and ones we've invested in once or twice. So we've got to know the founders. We don't want to put things on there that aren't very strong. In fact, many people are asking us to put more companies out there and take more risk, but we really want to put out only the stuff that we've made a bet on at least once, hopefully twice, or the third time. And Podcast AI is just, they seem to get, I don't know, some very large percentage of podcasters when they build them a website to pay them $500 a month for it, and their monthly revenue has gone up pretty steadily over time. And so I really like that company. I think like solving a series of problems using AI and packaging it really well for an affordable price is extraordinary. And if you go to thisweekinstartups.com, you can see the product in use, and you can go to, I think it's podcastai.com. So anyway, that's the one I like in recent history that did incredible. Some great moments on this podcast. We'll be back Wednesday, and
Satan returns from hell to ensure that the Democrats nominate Kamala and Walz. The DNC reportedly confidence in Kamala Walz has plummeted after the party in Boys Town and Halstead last night. Abortion numbers are way down at Planned Parenthood and the LGBTQ. It's a lie. Mm.